My next patron question is from John, who wants to know, am I the only one who likes Batman Begins more than The Dark Knight? I like The Dark Knight, I really do, but I do think it's a tad overrated. I find Batman Begins to be superior than The Dark Knight. Batman Begins isn't perfect, but it's still a damn great movie. I still think The Dark Knight is a very good movie, but not a great movie and a step down from Batman Begins. Am I alone on this? So in discussions about what was the best Batman movie directed by Christopher Nolan, The Dark Knight is the one most people mention as their favorite, an opinion I also share. However, it does not take long to dig around and find people who like Batman Begins the best, as that film is also widely acclaimed and appreciated. In fact, doing a Google search for Batman Begins as the best of the trilogy returns several results of people expressing that sentiment. Top of the search results as I'm recording this is a Reddit post on the Batman subreddit from 6 months ago, where someone called it the best film in the trilogy, and then hundreds of replies agreeing with that person. Rest assured, there will always be a number of people out there who share your opinion on the movie, especially when it's something as popular as Batman Begins. Now, like I said, The Dark Knight is my favorite of that trilogy, but I also understand why someone would latch onto the first film the most. So I thought it'd be interesting to go into the point of view of a person who considers Batman Begins the best of Nolan's films about the Caped Crusader. Part of it is likely the atmosphere is very different from its sequels. While Nolan depicted Gotham akin to any big city like Chicago and New York in the sequels, the one in Begins veers closer to the image many are familiar with from the comics, and there's still shades of the gothic feel that Tim Burton in the animated series brought to the city, albeit with Nolan putting his own stamp on it. There's a certain grunchiness to the way Gotham is depicted in Batman Begins, which also makes sense with how much of it is set near the docks and other crime-infested areas. Other locations, like Wayne Manor and the Temple of the League of Shadows, where Bruce does a lot of his training, also stand out. Then there's the origin story aspect, which had not really been depicted in live action before. Christopher Nolan shows plenty of Bruce's childhood, his adult years of still figuring himself out, and then finally the training, getting the pieces together for him to eventually become Batman. It's understandable why that would be appealing to see, and the thrill of getting to see Bruce learn and grow and become this vigilante hero defending the city. There's also a lot of emphasis on him living his double life as the wild playboy hiding that broken person underneath. His relationship with Rachel is also different here than in The Dark Knight, and I can see how someone could prefer her trying to figure him out and help him in Batman Begins over the love triangle featured in the next film. She also gets a happier, more hopeful ending in Batman Begins rather than the sad one she receives in The Dark Knight. Then you have the villains. Nolan's use of the Joker and Harvey Dent were widely praised in the sequel, especially the performances, and those remain fan-favorite interpretations of the characters. With Batman Begins, he focused on less commonly used villains. The Scarecrow is one of the big villains here, with Cillian Murphy clearly enjoying himself as a smirking Dr. Jonathan Crane. The fear-toxin aspect of the character becomes a major component of the plot, and does become a threat for Batman as it makes its way through Gotham and taps into what scares someone. It's a more fantastical approach than the Joker's calculated plan, but no less threatening. The film also digs into the mob influence over Gotham's criminal underworld, with Tom Wilkinson showcasing Carmine Falcone's hold on the city, and he also represents that corruption Bruce seeks to stamp out. The action sequences are directed differently in Batman Begins, which makes sense as this was Nolan's first action movie, and I can see why someone would prefer the set pieces in this film over the ones in The Dark Knight, especially when a good chunk involved Bruce out of the Batsuit. Someone might bring up how much more money The Dark Knight made, but here's the thing. Batman Begins still had to deal with the recent memory people had of Batman and Robin at the time. They also had to sell people on this being a completely new Batman unrelated to the previous films. However, the movie did eventually generate strong word of mouth and became an especially big seller on DVD as more people heard how good it was. The goodwill from people who saw and loved Batman Begins then helped the box office for The Dark Knight. Without Batman Begins, the next two films don't make $1 billion. Really, any Batman movie out there has its fans that consider it their favorite of the bunch. There are even those who might even consider Batman and Robin their favorite for its campiness, the over-the-top villains, and the general visual appearance of it. My personal favorite film starring the Caped Crusader is Batman Mask of the Phantasm, for its impressive telling of the origin story, its flashback structure, the brilliant animation, and its exciting depiction of Gotham and the villains who go up against Batman. Everyone's tastes are worthy, and with a character who's seen so many iterations, there'll be those that certain people gravitate towards, even in cases where it's the same director and actor involved. So if you love Batman Begins the most, that is a completely understandable and reasonable opinion. Same goes for The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Thank you for your question, John.